Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the From the Field podcast. I'm your host, Kodiak Schears, and I am very excited to kick off our June edition. In this episode, I chat with Regional Manager Newt Lingenfelter. Our conversation focuses on how growers can recognize and address in-season crop challenges, particularly nitrogen deficiency and hidden yield loss. It also emphasizes improving application strategies and using smarter equipment and agronomic practices to increase efficiency and protect yields. In order to make this podcast a more engaging listening experience moving forward, I have decided to split content between interviews and ag news. That way, whether you're looking for a quick market update or a longer form interview or both, you can choose how you want to listen. So, if you're looking for commodity information, tune in next week for the latest ag news and market updates. Before we dive into today's story, I wanted to let you all know about a very special giveaway for the listeners of this podcast. For the first year, followers that enter will have the chance to win a custom Carhartt jacket. I know, pretty awesome, right? Every month, I will choose a winner at random and announce them on the podcast. So, scan the QR code and sign up now. This show is brought to you by Ziegler Ag, serving farmers across Minnesota, Iowa, and Missouri. If you like the podcast and find it valuable, I encourage you to give us a follow and share us with your friends. That will help us grow and continue to create engaging content for you, our listeners. So, without further ado, let's get rolling. Kodiak Schears here from the field. I'm here with a special guest. I'm going to give him a chance to introduce himself. We're back in the Gear Lab today, and we're going to learn a little bit about application and nitrogen deficiency, so I'm really looking forward to it. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us how long you've been with Ziegler?
Yeah, fun stuff. Newt Lingenfelter. I've been with Ziegler for 5 years in June. I'm Regional Manager for Eastern Iowa.
Awesome. So, I guess just going into now that the planting season is over and we're looking into summertime, what do you think are some things that growers should be paying attention to as we go into summer? I know there's a lot of things, but just off the top of your head.
Yeah, well, things are slowing down, and this is where we got through the spring rush, the seeds in the ground starting to come out, optimistic about the future, but it's also where you take a drive and see deficiencies. Nitrogen deficiencies always show up. You can see where the wet holes were. You can see where you missed an application. It's evident oftentimes. Take a drive and see where the tillage tractor made the passes. You can see some compaction, and you can see mistakes in the sprayer at this point too. There's a lot of losses that we can't quantify. Phantom loss, I know it's a term we use for losses from drying down corn, but I struggle for a better term to describe the losses that we have from the compaction on the tillage piece, or the pinch rows from the planter, or say we didn't get our boom primed and we take off and we've got a chevron effect because we had hot product in the boom. The combine can only monitor the 12 or 16 or 8 rows that it's taking in and averaging those. So we're not going to see the losses from the compaction and tillage pass, or the losses from the pinch rows on the planter, or the losses from the chevron effect of the sprayer when we didn't get it primed or rinsed out properly.
Sure.
So because we don't measure down to the row, we can't see the losses that are on the row level. But we can see it right now. If you take a drive, you can go see it in any county in our area right now. You can see that plant is having a bad day, or that plant's not having as good a day as its neighbor, and you can evaluate why that is.
Definitely. And I guess as far as optimizing or things that growers can do to, mitigate loss in the future, as the crop continues to grow, or ahead of time, like what advice would you give?
Well, this is a good time to analyze that and think, what triggers can I pull to minimize these losses? And there are a lot of solutions out there. From the pinch rows on the planter, the momentum planter puts the tires in tandem, so instead of being side by side on the row, we're in tandem, so there's we're making the same pass there. The central tire deflation systems out so that you can reduce the pressure that the tire puts on the ground. That's huge right now. I think you can make a tire act more like a track. From a track standpoint, say you can see compaction behind your track equipment. Are we balanced correctly? Is there something about the draft load of that tillage piece that's causing that tractor to have more of a point pressure, maybe towards the rear of the track or towards the front of the track? So there's solutions that we have. From a nitrogen standpoint, this is where I really get passionate.
Let's hear it.
Over the last 20 years, time that I've been in this industry, we've seen so much change. And as we talk about the nitrogen use ratio, the number of bushels, the units of nitrogen that it takes to raise a bushel of corn, I've got customers that are down to 0.6, and that's a number that we didn't think was attainable.
Yeah, you had mentioned before we had talked about the customer that you were talking about, and like the difference between what it was like in the 80s versus now. Can you tell me and tell our listeners about that?
We can dive into that one. And this is a case that I think anytime you get two generations in a room, you can talk about this because it's changed so much. And I wanted to, before this podcast, I wanted to pull out an old book, like one of my dad's old agronomy books from the 70s, just to see like what they expected from nitrogen use ratio 50 years ago, even compared to 20 years ago. But the situation was, we were doing a customer call, and we had two generations in the room. So we had two sons and a father there, and we're talking about anhydrous and broadcasting, zoning with like a strip till bar, and then late season side dressing. And these guys are trying to really time it around V8 to do their late season side dress pass. And we talked about what that's done to their nitrogen use and their nitrogen use ratio. And the father was standing there, so I just asked him, I said, what was the rule of thumb? When you were getting started 30 years ago, what was your recommendation from your agronomist or from the universities in the area for nitrogen use? 1.25.
Wow.
1.25 units of nitrogen for your expected yield. And we've cut that in half in a generation. So we're raising more per acre, and we're doing it more efficiently. And that's exciting. We've done it through, we talk about the 4 R's. It's not really the 4 R's, it's timing, placement, rate, and product. But you say right time, right place, right rate, right product. It could be the 4 B's. It could be better place, better time, better rate, better product.
Better rates at Papa John's.
Right. There you go. We could make a better slogan out of that. But those 4 things do have an effect. And it's exciting to see people reduce their costs, improve their yields, and be better stewards of their farm. But it's also fun to sell the products that enable that. Mm-hmm. To get, to sell the equipment that can improve their efficiencies.
And now a quick commercial break. Save big now through June 30th, 2026. Get your AGCO equipment ready for planting season and save. Now through June 30th, Ziegler is offering an exclusive 10% discount on genuine AGCO parts once you schedule your preventative maintenance inspection. Inspections include a full analysis of critical components and systems, plus a detailed report with photos, measurements, and test results. Oil and coolant sampling, fault code history, and software checks are included where applicable. All AGCO e-commerce orders over $250 qualify for free standard ground shipping. Let's make this season your best one yet. Call 800-352-2812 or scan the QR code to contact your local dealer. Also, Ziegler Ag Equipment is offering a limited time financing opportunity designed exclusively for ag customers. Now through July 31st, take advantage of 0% financing for 5 years on qualifying compact CAT equipment. Customers can choose between 2 convenient options. Option 1 includes a 20% down payment or trade-in, with the added benefit of deferring the first payment for up to 1 year after the sale. Option 2 requires no down payment, with the first annual payment due at the time of purchase. This tailored financing approach allows you to select the structure that best fits the needs of your operation. To learn more about this offer and explore available equipment, scan the QR code or contact your local Ziegler branch today. You talked a little bit about the saturation conditions that one particular year and how that affected things. From a regional standpoint, what other ways can you think of that weather variability, especially in times like June, July, and how that affects nitrogen performance?
Oh, nitrogen moves with water. So leaching is one way we lose it. So leaching is where the water takes the nitrogen down so far that it gets out of the root zone, so it's not available. Another big loss is volatilization. So when the nitrogen just goes up into the atmosphere. So like when this wide dropping thing first got started, I was like, we can't do that. You can't just lay it on top. The sunlight's gonna hit it, the wind's gonna blow by, it's gonna be up into the atmosphere. And I was kind of baffled by the gains we saw from laying it on top. You know, the rule of thumb is it takes a 1/4 inch of rain to get it in. So if you make that application and you don't get it rain, eventually it's going to go up into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But what we've learned, I think, or what I've learned is if you do it at V8 or as that canopy's starting to close, you get shade. And with shade, you get a little mini temperature inversion, which kind of seals that off. As well as the corn plant is designed like a funnel to take that dew and take that rain and kind of funnel it down the stalk and really concentrate that water in the area where we need to take it down. So there's some things that are happening that make that, even though we're laying nitrogen on top of the ground, making it more efficient, making sure it gets down into the soil, the profile eventually of the roots and improve our yield.
What, in your mind, when it comes to that late June, early July timeframe, at what point do you, as a grower, do you say, all right, I can either supplement and try to, improve my productivity for the future, or, is this just kind of a sunk cost that I need to kind of move on? Like, give me an idea of that.
There's a lot of rescue operations that need to happen. I had a boss that used to say the plan's the plan until the plan changes. You can have a great nitrogen plan and then Mother Nature ruins it. But that's also another reason not to put all your eggs in one basket, not just to go out and throw it all in one pass, because you don't know what's going to happen. You can lose, I think Iowa State came out, don't quote me, Iowa State came out and said that you can lose, I think, up to 8% of your nitrogen per saturated day. And there's several springs where we have 5 or 6 saturated days, so take 5 or 6 times that 5%.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're losing a significant amount of your nitrogen.
Yeah.
And you can go out and see it. So when I talk about a rescue mission, we can go out and side dress or try to reapply in those areas. They're not as successful because the corn's already got that day. And it's already kind of determined that this isn't going to be a great year, so I'm going to pull back. But there are things that we can do to try and minimize our losses in those areas. You can go out and side dress later and try and get that nitrogen on. But if we're having saturation, we're losing it to denitrification, we're losing it to leaching, and once the corn's deficient, you start to have yield loss. So you can't get it all back, you can get some of it back. Got it. If you've got a prescription or a plan to make what we call late season nitrogen or nutrient application, that might change a little bit based on what we talked about. If we've had saturated soils, if we've had some losses, or maybe the other side of it, maybe we've had great conditions, you've got more mineralization going on, so you think you've got a little bit more nitrogen out there than you thought based on your organic matter. So there could be some things that we can tweak from that standpoint. But yeah, guys are scouting, have to be scouting. If we've got, say we need to do a cleanup pass from a weed standpoint, and go spray some herbicide, if we've reached a threshold there. The other thing that's really important right now is what's the fungus situation? Are we going to have to make 2 passes of fungicide? Do we think that's going to pencil? It's an expensive decision to make, and sometimes it can really pay, and sometimes it's just insurance. But that's something to stay on top of with your agronomists right now is, what do I have the crops hold for? What do I think I can gain from my fungicide application, my maybe additional nitrogen application, or my additional herbicide application at this point? And some of it's, for some guys, it doesn't look good, so I'm going to do it. But you can put pencil to paper and try to make more educated decisions right now. The questions I hope they ask Ziegler is, what can we do to reduce compaction? What tillage piece is going to be best for my operation? What can we do to, from the equipment standpoint, to get better nitrogen use efficiency? I hope that that's one of the things that are rolling through their mind, and I know it's one of the things we can help with. So, say we shift talk to your agronomist, and we're going to change up our nitrogen program to be like a third, a half, a quarter, to where we're going to be putting some nutrients off the planet, and that's something we absolutely can help with. And Maybe we want to put some nutrients on after the crop's up with the sprayer, put an easy drop kit on. It used to be, we didn't see, in my area, you didn't always see big benefits from split apply, but it allows you to make decisions like this. So if we have a wet spring, we lost some nitrogen, we can go back over on the other side of that. If we've got great conditions, we've got mineralization. Those decisions are decisions that need to be made now for next year so that we can size your equipment, get it on order, get the easy drops coming, set up a strip till bar. If we're gonna be putting it, zoning is another thing we didn't really talk about, but going from broadcasting to zoning is something that's a pretty hot topic right now. Putting the nutrients in the strip, putting the fertilizer 2x2 with the planter, and then laying it, with an easy drop kit laying it right beside the plant. We're talking about the 4 R's, and that's placement.
Right.
We're only going to place it where the crop needs it, and you can get some efficiencies from that. But that's a decision, that's a thought process and a conversation we need to start now if we're going to change our fall practice, our spring practice, and our early summer practice for next year.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Super knowledgeable. It's been great. Like, I think that our viewers are going to really appreciate the information you put forward, and I think anything that you can do to help make somebody's season a little easier, a little bit more productive, I think that there's only good that can come.
That's the real benefit of this job. Is a lot of us were involved in agriculture, a lot of us still are, but to help the industry, to help customers sustain their way of life and pass it off to the next generation, that's our ultimate goal.
Definitely. Awesome. Thank you again for your time. Well, that's going to wrap up our 5th episode of From the Field. We'll be back next week with the latest ag news and market trends, and next month, you'll hear an awesome conversation that I had with ag influencer Acres of Iowa. Aaron and I talk about how he got his start and how he continues to go viral online for his content. Until then, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.